Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. In this episode, we're going to continue our coverage of the ongoing civil war taking place inside of the former state of Ethiopia. So, as of today, January 6th, 2022, the fighting continues. We are continuing to see heavy fighting along three major fronts of the conflict. Well, I would say we are continuing to see widespread fighting along two fronts, with more focused fighting along a third front. So, first and foremost, we continue to see the Tigrayan Defense Forces continue its operation across the Tikizi River into the western Tigray area of operation, to include the northern Amhara region, in which we are continuing to see the Tigrayan Defense Forces conduct, envelop, and destroy operations of the Amhara regional paramilitary units located within the vicinity and around a DRK, to the south of a DRK. And then obviously we're continuing to seeing those infiltration units crossing the Tikizi River and conduct operations in the western portion of the Tigray region that is currently occupied by the forces of the Eritrean army and, excuse me, the Amhara regional militia forces. In other areas, we continue to see fighting taking place in southeastern Tigray, and more specifically, we're now starting to see more and more fighting just across the border from the Tigray region, just south of Alamada, within the vicinity of Waja, and both to the west and east of Waja, as that fighting continues. Now, the engagements that are taking place in southeastern Tigray are not on the same level that we are seeing in areas such as western Tigray or along the DRK front and south of a DRK. We're also seeing continued fighting in the vicinity of Abala. Again, these are Afar regional forces supported by both elements of the Eritrean army and the Abiy loyalist formations that are operating within the Afar region. And again, we continue to see drone activity operating within the Abala area of operations as well. But again, not large frontal operations along the entire Afar Tigray border. Again, more focused combat, focused fighting taking place within the vicinity of Abala and areas around and near Abala. Again, one of the main reasons we are seeing the Tigrayan Defense Forces quite possibly looking to attempt to take control of Abala at some point is the fact of what is happening inside of Abala. Again, peoples from the Tigray region who live in Abala obviously are being targeted because of who they are, and that is something that obviously has a great concern for the Tigrayan Defense Forces. But again, that fighting again is more sporadic and not widespread, but again really focused within the context of Abala. Operations continue in the Oromia region. There is widespread operations by the Oromo Liberation Army. I would say almost daily operations now, multiple daily operations specifically against more rural targets of opportunity by the Oromo Liberation Army. And these targets of opportunity include small-sized towns to even at times mid-sized towns in which we see direct what we would define as a conventional attack on those towns, seizing those towns and expelling the forces of the Abiy loyalists, and in some cases Amhara regional militia units who are also operating in the Oromia region, and also the Eritrean army is also present within the Oromia region as well, in terms of its security apparatus supporting the Abiy loyalists, especially in Addis Ababa, also known as Fene. But really, right now, what we're seeing that is probably not getting a lot of conversation in the press. Obviously, there are other international events such as Ukraine, such as what is happening right now in Kazakhstan. But even that event has probably received more coverage than what is currently going on in the former state of Ethiopia. Again, in terms of fighting and heavy fighting and just the total allotment of personnel, right now this is the largest combat zone on the planet. And it has both aspects of heavy conventional war and industrial strength insurgencies. And if we were to look back at post 1991, the first Gulf War, in which we saw a rebellion of the Shiite population in southern Iraq, and then we observed Saddam Hussein's Air Force then attempt to crush that Shiite rebellion. We then saw a no-fly zone instituted. Now, with that same thought process, we are seeing the same sort of activity inside of the former state of Ethiopia. Please understand, uh, as it has been called a law enforcement action by the Abiy loyalist government, by the Prosperity Party, you traditionally do not utilize Su-27 fighter bomber aircraft in law enforcement actions. You do not use MiG-23 multi-role fighter bombers in law enforcement actions. You do not use Mi-24 Hind gunships in law enforcement actions. And again, obviously, all these fixed-wing assets and helicopter assets are being utilized in a direct ground attack role against both the Tigray region and targets inside of the Oromia region as well. So we continue to see both fixed-wing assets and helicopter assets being utilized to strike towns and cities and possible roadways in the former state of Ethiopia by the Abiy loyalist government. We continue to see the obstruction of basic necessities into the Tigray region. And in some cases, we have actually seen now United Nations convoys come under attack by the Abiy loyalist government utilizing advanced drones that were produced in Turkey, in the People's Republic of China, or handed over to the United Arab Emirates by the People's Republic of China and Iran in the suppression of this rebellion against the Abiy loyalist government. So again, if we hearken back to quotes referencing a law enforcement operation, what is happening right now inside of the former state of Ethiopia is simply not a law enforcement operation. Some individuals would state that indeed in some areas of the country we are seeing quite possibly genocide taking place. And when you restrict food, water, supplies to a fairly now autonomous region of the Tigray region, that obviously is going to cause a great deal of harm to the local population, and that is what we're seeing. And that is why one of the reasons we are seeing this renewed push into Western Tigray in an attempt to quite possibly open up that western border with the border of Sudan that would give the Tigray region access to the the inflow of trade, commerce, and support from Sudan, quite possibly. But again, the Tigrayan region is surrounded, for all intents and purposes, by adversarial entities to include Eritrea, the Amhara region to the south, and obviously the Afar region to the east, all supported by the Abiy loyalist government that initiated this conflict under the false pretext of a so-called law enforcement operations after elections were canceled inside of the Tigray region. And again, we continue to see the Ethiopian, the Abiy loyalist government at work across, especially inside of the United States, with the No More campaign, which was instituted by the Ethiopian intelligence services. Many of those actors who support the No More movement are actually foreign agents for the Prosperity Party, and henceforth the Abiy loyalist government and the Ethiopian intelligence service. So again, matter of fact, key leadership individuals from the No More movement are now back inside of Addis Ababa, also known as Finfine, probably being debriefed, and will probably eventually go back to the United States with more content and more information, more false narratives about what is going on. And I say that simply because of what occurred that initiated this operation. Again, the concept that this war was launched by the Tigray region is again simply a farce. We saw preparation by both the Abiy loyalist government and the Eritrean army well before the Tigrayan Defense Forces launched its operation on the Northern Command headquarters in Mekelle. Again, that operation was a preemptive operation because of the massive buildup of forces. And again, right after that operation took place, in terms of the TDF operation, seizing control of the Northern Command, we then saw an immediate, massive military invasion of the Tigray region. You just cannot launch that sort of operation without a pre-planned buildup over many, many months. And indeed, as I talked before, we saw Abiy Ahmed meeting Isaias Afwerki, the despotic leader of Eritrea, inside of Eritrea, and we saw the Isaias Afwerki go to Addis Ababa as well, and work out this plan that eventually led to the invasion of the Tigray region. Those are facts that cannot be disputed. Again, the whole concept of the attack on the Northern Command almost immediately after that, you see this massive invasion taking place. But again, in order to facilitate that sort of massive invasion, you have to have preparatory work. And the only way that preparatory work could have occurred was over many months, with a lot of organization, a lot of planning went into that. So again, the concept by this No More network that you're seeing around the United States and other parts of the globe now is simply a false narrative. It is not true. And again, just look at the elements of the conflict. Look at what happened prior to the operation that the Tigrayan Defense Forces launched on the Northern Command. Look at the preparatory work. So the intent for the invasion was there, and it then manifested itself at the end of 2020. But again, that is the information we have for right now. I just wanted to bring up that as we had received some information about the No More network. Again, a apparatus of the Ethiopian intelligence services. I would assume that on Twitter they would then mandate that that be disclosed, that is a arm and part of a continued intel operation by the Abiy loyalist government, and that should just definitely be noted. But again, that's what we have for today. We will have more soon to come. Have a good day, everybody.